iniciando mais um programa Presença e Harmonia, uma realização da Ordem Rosa Cruz Amorque, grande loja da jurisdição de língua portuguesa. Hoje estamos com um programa especial, pois vamos conversar com o egiptólogo egípcio Zahi Hawass. Quem farão as perguntas para o professor são dois egiptólogos brasileiros, professor Júlio Gralha e Moacir Elias Santos. Acompanhe.
Boa tarde, professor. É um prazer tê-lo aqui em Curitiba, aqui na Ordem Rosa Cruz. Tá? E gostaríamos de fazer, então, algumas perguntas que são interessantes para o nosso público. Tá? Primeira é, com relação às pesquisas sobre pirâmides, o que a egiptologia tem sobre o processo de construção? O que se tem de novo sobre esse processo de construção?
We know everything, because I published a book about a few months ago, me and Mark Leader. Our work took like maybe more than 40 years of research. One of the most important things that we began to search was actually the location of the quarries. We found that all the stones for building the Great Pyramid came from Giza Plateau. And it located to the south of the Great Pyramid. On the south of any pyramid in Egypt, you have subsidiary pyramids of queens. But the architect of the Great Pyramid moved the subsidiary pyramids from the south to the east because of the ramp. And the ramp located from the quarry on the south to the southwest corner of the main pyramid. And after that, the Egyptian will make a square base, and they cut in the solid rock, and they made the base of the pyramid to be 8 meters of the solid rock, no stones. And after that, they made the base of solid rock. They put huge stones and small stones, meaning that the Great Pyramid has many voids because of that. And they cut the chambers and the Grand Gallery before they construct the whole pyramid. We also found out evidence that the ramp was exterior ramp. Then, in my excavation at Abu Sir, I found scenes. One scene, the workman was dragging a capstone, and the other scene, people were dancing, ladies. They called these people khenner, and khenner means the troop of the king, the ladies. They were the ladies' troop for the king, and therefore, and we found a word written that the capstone was cased with jaim, and jaim means white and yellow gold. We found out that when the Egyptian finished building the pyramid, they put the capstone on the top of the pyramid, in front of the king and the people. When they put the capstone in front of the pyramid, it means the pyramid is finished. Each pyramid of the 124 pyramids of kings and queens that we have in Egypt has its own method of construction. In my research inside the Great Pyramid, I found, when I sent the robot, and I found stones like a door on the south shaft, and I found after 20 meters in the north shaft that the shaft was bending. And we sent a robot, a German robot, to investigate that. And we found actually at 60 meters on the south shaft a door with 2 copper handles. And when I became explorer to National Geographic, I asked them for a robot. And we did open one hole, 1 centimeter and 1 millimeter. We sent a robot, and we found a second door without a copper handle. We went to the northern one. I found bending north and south for 8 meters to avoid the Grand Gallery. At 60 meters, we found a third door. And we hope in 2019 will be the year that will reveal the secrets of the pyramid. Actually, we have a team now from Japan and from France. They are using a very sophisticated techniques to reveal the secret of the Great Pyramid. I am the scientific director for the committee to review their work, because anyone who uses this equipment, they think about secret doors all the time. But we have to know that all this type of techniques used for space, not for the pyramids of Egypt. Then we have to be careful of any interpretation. they said that behind the main entrance of the pyramid, there is a void. If you look at a famous book by Dieter Arnold about construction in ancient Egypt, he talked about this void. He said for the ancient Egyptian to construct the descending corridor, they have to have voids to move. And there's another void up to the Grand Gallery, which we think, how can you construct the Grand Gallery? You have to leave voids on the right and the left for the workmen to move. And therefore, we always have to be careful of the word secret rooms. And this is really mainly what we know about the Great Pyramid of Khufu.
Boa tarde, professor Hawass. É um prazer tê-lo aqui conosco. E eu gostaria de perguntar para o senhor que em 2010, os estudos de DNA que foram feitos com a múmia da cabeça 55, o senhor, era de fato o faraó Akhenaton, né? E Tutankhamon, que o senhor descobriu, era o seu filho, né? O senhor poderia relatar um pouquinho para a gente sobre essa descoberta que, sem dúvida, muda muito o nosso conhecimento que nós temos sobre o tema?
You know, with DNA, the most important thing that you have to have two labs away from each other. And also each lab should have a scientific team. And this is what I did. I never thought that DNA would work. But when we took the material from the mummies, I gave it to the first lab, and the first lab gave me information about the discovery. I took the material to the second lab without telling them what the first lab found, but they confirmed what the first lab found. And after that, I sent everything to JAMA, which is a medical American magazine, and they stayed 8 months to review my work, and they approved everything. Because we found out that the skeleton in K55, based on the CT scan, died between 3.5 to 4.5. And this is actually could be Akhenaton. Because people thought about Semenech Kara. I don't think that Semenech Kara exists at all. I think that Nefertiti in year 12 maybe disappeared because she became the co-regent for Akhenaton. It changes her name to Nefer-Nefru-Ra. And when Akhenaton died, she became the king and she called herself Semenech Kara. Then we found out that this skeleton with DNA is the son of Amenhotep III and Queen T, and the father of Tutankhamun by DNA. And that was a very important discovery. But really what we found out, which is very important, that all the physical features on the body of Akhenaton is not true. It is what is written in the poem of Akhenaton. They say in the poem, you are the man, you are the woman. And therefore, they put what is in the poem on art. And this is Amarna features is not really physical. It's a religious aspect of that period, how they could be shown in that way. We are going to continue the work for DNA because I want to search for the mummy of Queen Ankhis in Ammon. I think there is a mummy in KV21. It could be her mummy. And beside her, there's a mummy with a head. I think that this mummy could be for Nefertiti. Then the second Egyptian mummy project that I'm heading will start about 2 weeks from now. And we will examine all the mummies of Dynasty 19th and Dynasty 20th.
O projeto Amarna Project, né, vem desenvolvendo pesquisas na região, né, de Amarna. Né. O professor poderia nos dar conta das últimas descobertas ou novidades, né, na região de Amarna?
In the Amarna area, there is an English expedition under Barry Kemp is working. And they cleaned on the temple, the North Temple and the palace and all these kind of things. And they're doing great work. And they found a few months ago a head of Akhenaton. The other important that near Amarna, there is major sites like Tur el-Gabal and Ashmunain and also Bani Hassan. Between Amarna and Tur el-Gabal, there is a big major discovery found, which is a big, large cemetery dated from the late period to the Ptolemaic period. This cemetery, actually, no one really knows anything about it. In 1925, the people by chance found a huge sarcophagus on the desert. And came Inspector of Antiquities, there was Hakim Abu Sif, and he took the sarcophagus. In 1927, Sami Gabra from Alexandria University published the sarcophagus. It is now in the Cairo Museum. And this led us to the big, large cemetery that we found, huge sealed sarcophagus with mummies and necklaces and gold. And we are going to do this live on Discovery Channel on March 26th to the people all over the world. Prime time in the States, in Cairo, will be 3 to 5 in the morning.
Bom, e com relação a pesquisas de períodos mais recentes na história do Egito, como a questão da tumba de Cleópatra, né, em Marco Antônio, o senhor poderia nos contar um pouco como estão as pesquisas sendo desenvolvidas nessa área no Egito?
You know, we know very little about Cleopatra because only from Shakespeare and all these stories that made her as a magical queen. We know from archaeology that she built a palace. Beside the palace, she built a tomb. But we never have any evidence that she actually was buried in this tomb or not. Then, about 9 years ago, came to see me this lady from the Dominican Republic. Her name is Kathleen Martinez. And she had a theory that Cleopatra and Mark Antony could be buried inside this temple. It's called Tabogiris Magna, located 35 miles west of Alexandria. And she thought this temple was dedicated to Isis and that this could be a perfect place for her burial. We all have been working there and we found many evidence for statues of Cleopatra and coins of Cleopatra. And we found out that this temple actually is dated to Ptolemaic number 4, and Ptolemaic number 5, who made Rosetta Stone, left a beautiful stela in Greek and hieratic as gifts that he gave to the priestess of Isis. There is a copy like this exactly exists by Ptolemaic number 5 in Philae. And we found a big, large cemetery outside the temple, and we're still excavating. And I don't know if really we could be lucky to discover her tomb in this temple or not.
Como responsável pelos trabalhos realizados no oásis, né, de Barraria, né, o senhor poderia nos contar, né, sobre os estudos realizados com as pirâmides e destacar as principais mudanças nas práticas funerárias da época?
You know, it gives us more ideas about the funeral practice in the time of the Greek-Roman period. Because the people who lived at Bahrain in the time of the 26th dynasty, which I found a big, large cemetery dated to the 26th dynasty, and I found underneath the houses the mummy and the sarcophagus and the tomb of Jetkhil Soyuf Ankh, who was the governor of Bahrain, and the tomb of his wife, and the tomb of his father. The people in Bahrain were very rich because of the production of wine. The Bahrain wine was the best wine for the ancient Egyptian to even drink in the afterlife. Then in the Greek-Roman period, people also still producing wine, and this is why with their mummies, actually, they put gold on it. We know about the sources and the mines of gold in ancient Egypt. And this could be handled by the people who lived in Bahrain oasis. And we found out that mummification was not that good on the Greek-Roman period. They put inside the body wood to support, and after that they put the lining. Above the chest, they cover cartonnage, and they do put gold. And also at the same time, artifacts. We have necklaces and pottery vessels and cups for drinking wine and amulets in gold and all of this kind of artifacts has been found in the cemetery. I did not excavate all the cemetery. It's very large. And I believe it's enough to discover these small types of mummies, but not to excavate the whole cemetery, because mummies are better preserved to be under the sand. And when we take them out of the sand, they're more in danger.
Bom, aqui no Brasil tem uma etapa bastante importante nos trabalhos de pesquisa de arqueologia que se refere ao que nós chamamos de extroversão do conhecimento científico. E esse visa justamente valorizar o patrimônio, né, o patrimônio nacional, para o grande público, porque as pessoas muitas vezes não têm acesso a essas informações. Eu gostaria que o senhor explicasse para a gente um pouco como esse tipo de trabalho é feito no Egito, com relação ao que realmente os egípcios conhecem, né, a população comum conhece sobre o seu passado.
You know, I really think because of the way that I saw archaeology, I try to do simple work and adventure. Like when I sent the robot inside the Great Pyramid, it was live. Then all the Egyptians loved it. And now I do have a center opened by the Library of Alexandria. They opened a center by name called the Center of Zahi Hawass for Egyptology. Through this center, I began to teach kids about their heritage. We are going to collect fund. Then we can have courses online for teaching hieroglyphic and also teaching archaeology and history of Egypt. Then now Egyptians, through me, because I show them the adventure in archaeology, they began to love their history more than before. And also, I can see this all over the world. Whatever I travel, I can see always the pharaohs are everywhere. I was in Japan. I was giving a lecture. You cannot believe 1,000 people came, because in every country now, you have keys of the pharaohs, like pyramids, that people still think how they were built. The Sphinx, mummies, and also King Tut. Then the discovery of the tomb of King Tut is still amazes people. I started, and I'm working right now, maybe the largest excavation ever happened in the Valley of the Kings. There is even Howard Carter did not have the same big, large expedition. I'm working right now in the West and the East Valley, hoping that their tomb could be discovered. Because actually, in the Valley of the Kings, we know that the tomb of Amenhotep the First, Tutmosis the Second, Ramses VIII is not found. All the queens of Dynasty 18 buried somewhere, because the Valley of the Queens started in Dynasty 19. The sons of the king of Dynasty 18, the daughters of the king, where they're buried, they should be buried somewhere in the valley. And this is what I'm looking for.
Bom, e para encerrar, né, só de uma questão, né, que recado o senhor, né, deixaria para os jovens que desejam, né, seguir na carreira, né, da arqueologia ou da egiptologia, aqui mesmo no Brasil, né? É um esforço que a gente tenta fazer também aqui.
You know the message that I'm saying to the people, if you try to study archaeology just for fun or something, don't study. But if you have the passion for it, do it. And that's why I give a message to the children all over the world to tell them that when I was a young man, I was not interested in archaeology. But when I excavated the first time and I found a statue, and I began to clean on that statue, I said I found my love, archaeology. And therefore, I say, if you have anything small and you have a passion for that, you make this big. Passion is very important for anyone who studies archaeology. Or not archaeology, for anyone. If you have any job and you have passion for it, you make it big.
Professor Hawass, estamos muito honrados com a sua presença aqui no programa Presença e Harmonia e muito gratos também. Agradecemos muito a participação dos dois professores, Moacir e Júlio Gralha.
Nós que agradecemos aqui a oportunidade.
Obrigado novamente pela oportunidade.
Obrigada. Aproveito para lembrar do nosso e-mail, presençaharmonia@morte.org.br. É muito importante para nós essa via de comunicação que nós temos com você que nos assiste. Agradecemos a participação conosco hoje e até o nosso próximo encontro. Paz profunda.
related to the Old Kingdom, but also it was a store for mummies. I entered in the same method, like this, and I found myself in front of sealed coffins. When I opened the coffin, and I found inside a mummy, look how the press and the media.
Se você gostou deste conteúdo, convido a participar de uma palestra com o professor Zahi Hawass no dia 6 de setembro, às 19 horas, no auditório Harvey Spencer Lewis, onde ele falará sobre o faraó menino de ouro, Tutankhamon, por ocasião da inauguração do novo Museu Rosa Cruz. O endereço é Rua Nicarágua, número 2620, Bacaxiri, Curitiba, Paraná. Aguardamos a sua presença.